Okay, are you ready?
Are you ready?
Do I have to start?
I think so. But let's say hello first.
Oh, yeah.
Hello,
Hello.
honey.
Hi.
How's it going?
No, good, thanks.
I think we should say thank you to the people.
Yes.
Because we were not expecting such good feedback, and we are very happy that we have more than 5 listeners, which we would have been happy with in the beginning.
We said we would have been happy with that, but secretly
we wanted more. So
we would have
thank
been
you.
upset.
And yeah, this is episode 2, and this time we thought we'd get a bit spooky.
A little bit of spooky, a little bit of history.
Yeah, we love it. We love to see it. So we hope you stick around. So in this episode, we are going to be covering 2 spooky haunted places in South Africa. I'm going to be doing the Kempton Park Hospital.
I'm going to be doing the Erasmus... What is it called? Oh, there. I've scrolled down.
Ay.
Um,
This is going to be a fun one,
it's
kids.
going to be a bumpy ride. Okay, I'll be doing the Erasmus Castle. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Kyra,
Yeah,
here, let me tell you this thing about a castle.
I'm ready.
So, it's also known as die Spookhuis or the haunted house.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And
2 Harry Potter references in the first couple of minutes. Nice.
so it's actually just someone's house from a long, long time ago's days.
Mm-hmm.
But they call it Erasmus Castle, obviously because the Erasmuses owned it.
I would imagine.
Yeah. But castle because it looks like a fairy tale castle.
So it's not actually a castle.
No, Google it quick. It looks so pretty, actually. But, it looks like the Disney castle kind of thing.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm
Oh, by the way,
exaggerating.
we will post pictures of this stuff. So, I mean, I'm looking at it now, so you'll have FOMO, but, you'll see the picture.
Pretty.
It kind of looks like a mixture of Disney and, that American goth
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, Kara.
Oh, I don't like that. What am I seeing?
No, save that for the
Okay,
Instas.
sorry. Okay, but yeah, I see what they mean. But not a castle.
No, it's not a castle. It's just because it looked like fairy tale castles. That's
Fair
what you would
enough,
describe.
fair enough.
Let's get into the history. So the land was bought originally by Carl Erasmus.
Mm-hmm.
Just the land. I find this so funny. He traded a horse and his corduroy pants for the land.
Wow. Corduroy. Carl knew what was up back in the day.
I wonder if the horse was wearing the corduroy pants.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, so Carl Erasmus traded his prize horse for this piece of land.
And his corduroy pants.
And his corduroy pants. I wonder if they were brown or black. I imagine them to
blue
be
or
brown.
red. Who knows? Carl might have been a jazzy guy.
I don't know, hey. He's buying land.
When is this, by the way? Do we have
Oh.
what year are we in?
The 1800s, the late 1800s. So the Erasmus family was a very well-respected family, and they were, said to be very influential, and it was said that they were well-respected because they did fair practice. Looking into that, the only thing that I could really figure out was that in South Africa, slaves were emancipated in 1834. And a lot of people still in the late 1800s didn't adhere to that. They still owned slaves or underpaid them drastically or whatever.
Bitches.
And the Erasmus family was known for being fair about
So they
that.
didn't have slaves? Or
So
they just had slaves
I think they paid their workers.
Oh.
So then, that was Carl. His son, Joshimus.
Sounds nice.
It's okay, that's his first name. I'm just going to call him Johannes.
Okay.
Because it's
Fair enough.
Jochimus Johannes Petrus Erasmus.
Oh my goodness, what a mouthful.
Yeah. I just call him Johannes.
Let's call him Joe.
Joyzy. So that's his oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
He commissioned for the castle, quote unquote castle, to be built. He commissioned a Dutch architect, and it was in reference to an American home design book.
Oh, there you go.
So the fact that you said that American, it was exactly that. And then what's interesting about it is that, so it was the Dutch architect, and the architect's assistant was English, and then they had an Italian builder.
Oh my goodness.
And most of the materials were imported, so nothing was South African about this castle.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the building ended in 1903, and they inaugurated it with a church service.
Of course.
So, it's on a hill in Pretoria, just so you know.
I was about to ask, where are we?
These imported materials, the one that I want to point out is that the ceiling was made of stretched linen. So in the wind, it would blow and buffer.
The ceiling?
The ceiling. Yeah, like not the roof, like inside the roof.
Okay. Well, that's creepy.
Yeah. So it was known to make noises.
Yeah.
So already it's pretty built creepy.
Yeah, you're like building yourself.
Yeah.
What's the word? You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you're building yourself up for buildings. So this family lived there, and this is like, they lived on there until, I think it was the 60s. Yeah, it all fell apart in the 60s because the government wanted to build a highway through that land.
Okay.
And they sold it, or they were forced to sell it to the municipality, essentially. But these plans fell through in 1975.
To build the highway.
So now there was just this abandoned farmhouse and everything. And I found this so strange. It was bought by Arms Corps, which is the South African armed weapons building thing. Because during sanctions we couldn't get stuff from other places, so it was established to build arms, and it went to this castle to live.
Oh my god,
it's so weird. But anyway, weird. They restored it to its original form for their headquarters. That's
linen ceilings and everything.
Yeah, that's a bit why? There's secrets in there, I think.
That's horrible.
So in restoring the whole thing, parts of it were moved. So the main house stayed where it was, but there were 2 farmhouses that were moved, but stone by stone, so that it was perfectly replicated. But then there was an old cemetery. There's a bug. There was a cemetery, and they moved the cemetery. Not good.
Oof.
Whoever thought that was a good idea?
That's stupid.
Not good. And they moved it. This is embarrassing for them.
They embarrassed.
They moved it to where the old cattle kraal area was. Where the animals were plonking and prodding, whatever,
Oh. They just... How do you even up and move a cemetery? That doesn't
I don't think that they exhumed the body.
That's
I think
what
they
I'm thinking.
just took
just the gravestones and stuff.
Yeah.
Which also...
I know.
And then what, are you building a house on top of that? Because then you're just asking for trouble. What are you building on top of the bodies?
No, they just moved the cemetery out of the way, basically, because they wanted to.
No, but not the bodies. That's what I'm saying. Whatever they put on top of there.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. It doesn't find anything about that. But yeah. So it was just because they needed spaces for the headquarters. For their headquarters. So it was all just to make space. I don't know if they ever did build on the cemetery.
It is bizarre that they wanted to keep everything the same and replicate, move. That's weird. If you're not even using it for the purpose of what it was built for, why move? Why not just build the whole thing from...
It's someone's house and farmhouses. Why? How do you fit a weapons... it's a weaponry business. I just find it weird.
It is weird.
I'm sure it's not suspicious, but it's weird.
Everything's suspicious.
Everything's
proven otherwise.
Okay, so it wasn't all original furniture. It just gets weirder. It wasn't the original furniture, but they got furniture specific to that time period. So it was still furnished like it was new.
That's weird.
And then they had the original pine floors, original fireplaces, original front door. That's spooky. And then there were lots of rooms. Obviously, it was just like an old castle. The smoking room of the Erasmus. This
is a struggle tonight.
He had a smoking room where he would go, his man cave with all his buddies, and it has his original roll-top desk. Still lives in that room. Spooky. And here's a cool thing. The property sits on basically a cave, and I don't even really understand. When I was researching it, it was just like this cave of artifacts, but they were artifacts that were put there and stored there. So it's just this cave under the farm that has all this old like sand artifacts and like beads from it was like 2500 to 539 BC.
Oh my gosh.
Like
so much history on this plot.
Old, dating over 150,000 years old.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So
old.
Archaeologists refer to it as a treasure trove, but I don't understand. I don't know who put it there. I don't really understand that part of it. I just know that underneath there's all this cool stuff. That's all.
Fun fact.
I'm going to move on to like the haunts and the legends, but just as a note, in the graveyard they found a child's grave marked Enslin. She died in 1913. She was 3 years old, and it said "Our Little Sunbeam" on the gravestone. Really, yeah. And I don't know how many cemeteries you've been to. I have been to a fair few. When I went overseas, I couldn't find parks, and I walked in cemeteries in Paris.
That's a choice. In Paris?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And like when you see a child's grave,
it's
so small.
It's horrible.
I hate it.
It's the worst. So now, when we jump to the hauntings, is this now after this arms, whatever, has been there for so long?
So after the arms has moved out, they shot a scary movie in the house.
Oh.
And that's when all these stories started to come out.
Okay.
So everything seemed to be normal, but was it?
So do you know when they shot the movie?
In the 50s. And it's called Hier is ons weer.
Here we are again.
Here we are again.
I want to watch it.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can find it.
I don't know where we would find that.
Maybe like the library or something.
Yeah. So,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. And then there were all these weird things that came up about the place. So once they shot the film there and they like were making up stories and stuff, and obviously the film has its own storyline, separate to that, they started, like, these legends started popping up that they had 2 Erasmus children were locked up in a tower because they had leprosy. Or they said that Johannes Erasmus was known to spend hours squishing earthworms with his cane.
Ooh.
So it's like, none of this is substantiated.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
don't
these
actually know
weird,
if it's true.
dark legends that came about. But then stuff started, like, spooky things started happening. So it like gives substance to the legends.
But after the movie shot then?
Yeah.
So like they invited something.
Yeah.
Or someone.
Or
they just reawakened.
Yeah.
Maybe the arms people experienced something, but they just didn't want to.
True, because they had their own secrets. Okay. So just some of the things, like haunts that it was known for, is the classic, like, lit candles in the windows, moaning at night.
Ugh, I don't like it.
And that one's difficult because it has those linen flaps, but it says that the moaning is like intense and like labored, like in pain kind of moaning.
I don't like it.
The doors creak open, the lights go on and off by themselves. And there have been encounters with Mr. Erasmus.
Like the OG or Johannes?
The OG. It was the OG Erasmus that they would see, like, just walking in the hallways or whatever. Yeah. And then as there is with spooky places, there's the Victorian woman in her long nightgown. So there's that one. She's seen in the windows or walking in the garden. Okay. Spooky.
Very.
People hear footsteps and the taps turn on and off.
What a waste of water.
Don't they know it's a drought?
Don't they know we have a drought? Day zero?
So a lot of this information I found from a Facebook page that's actually a tour group that goes to this place. It's called Mystery Ghost Bus Tour. So this happens in Pretoria, and I think it only happens like once or twice a year.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and it's led by this guy who is like, if you go on their website, he's like, yeah, I'm dying soon, so I don't know if I'll still be doing these. He's like, I'm going to retire. Come while you can, sort of thing. But a lot of the stories that I found were stories that they put out, and that picture that you saw.
So people are still having these experiences?
Yes.
Okay.
So currently, it's still owned by Arms Corps.
Oh.
but you can go do tours. Like, you can arrange private events and, like, go do tours there. So it's, like, on and off limits. So these were some of the stories that came out of the mystery bus tour that they spoke about this stuff. So they said that there was a time where there were renters in the building. I couldn't find any information on that. I couldn't find, like, a gap in ownership. So I don't know how valid this is. But they say that there was this renter's family's daughter was sleeping in the room where the Erasmus kids would sleep. And the one night, she ran to her mom's room and she said, "Where did the girl from in the old-fashioned clothes go?" And it turned out that she had been playing with this ghost.
Oh, no.
But she was just playing it and then it vanished. And I just got chills myself. Look at my goosebumps.
I don't like it.
So
But that's
they
very
think
creepy.
that might be Enslin, the little girl, the sunbeam.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's so
But
touching.
imagine a
She
child
just
coming to you and asking,
Yeah.
where did the girl in the
where's my
old-fashioned
friend?
clothes?" No.
No, yeah. And then there's another one that I think this was in the smoking room. There's an apparition of a man sitting in an armchair, and he doesn't say anything. Doesn't respond to you. He just sits there.
They seem pretty chilled. Like, they don't seem like they're trying to...
Yeah, but spooky.
I know, very, but, like, they're not trying to do harm or anything.
No, I don't think, because it was a well-respected family. Like, nothing bad happened there. But there was another one that they said. At some point, a fire almost destroyed the mansion. Couldn't find anything legit about this either.
Okay.
But the building was empty. It caught fire, and the firemen all went to put it out and things like that. And all of a sudden, an old man dressed in, like, his white pajamas ran onto the balcony screaming and then just disappeared. And all the, like, emergency people had to, like, quickly back away, and they were like, "No, I don't want to go back into that house."
Ooh.
So that's spooky.
That's very spooky. Sheesh.
And then there's one more, that the Arms Corps had an evening function, and they were all chatting to each other, and there were all these fancy guests and stuff, and the one guest just wandered off, and someone went to him and was like, "No, the party's here, where are you going?" And he said,
He wasn't a real guest!
"Just you wait."
I don't like it.
He said he was following a lady dressed similar to the ones pictured on the walls, because there's original photos on the walls. So he was just following this lady out the door.
Oh, so he was real.
No, he was real.
But
Just following a lady.
old-fashioned clothes. Don't trust
Old-fashioned
them.
clothes. No.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. And then that photo that you saw that we'll put on Instagram, that's from the bus tour.
thing.
And they took a photo because, you know, when you're on a tour and you start the tour, you're standing outside, they're giving you an intro. They said that photo of someone in the window was watching them the whole time they were standing there.
I don't like that.
So, yeah, that's...
Do you think that there's an element of, like, playing it up
No, definitely.
with this mystery bus, whatever?
I think the mystery bus thing looked quite cool because they go to other places. It was like a Pretoria to somewhere else.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah. They said that they have one that has dates for Cape Town, but it's like question
Ooh.
marks. So
Follow
we'll
up on
keep
that.
you updated.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, so as it is now, it's really badly maintained, and it's like peeling, leaking, all of that. And the precious stuff is still stored there, so it's like potentially getting damaged and everything in this underground cave. And everything is, including the graveyard, it's vandalized.
Oh no.
So it's like gone into complete disarray, and they said that it would need a complete intervention to be repaired. Like they would have to step in with a lot of money to redo it. So that's the story. It used to be this beautiful castle, and now it's just a shell with some cool artifacts in it.
And vandalism.
Yeah. And ghosts.
That's interesting, though. It's interesting because you don't actually know if it's real or not.
Yeah.
Like, definitely the family being there and everything, but, like, obviously there's gaps, and people just thought, I'm gonna film these gaps. But also I kind of believe it. Like, I understand that a house with that much history and a friggin' cemetery on the land.
And to have moved the cemetery, that's not...
there has to be some sort of...
The energy that comes out of those little cracks and crevices.
But that's still, that's the strangest thing to me, I think, is that this Arms Corps came in, but wanted to keep it all very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just strange. I mean, maybe it's just like a respect thing.
Yeah, it could be. But also, I wonder if, because it was their headquarters, but I wonder if they built the offices off-site and they lived in the building. Yeah.
Probably.
Because then that would make sense to, like, have... There's a fly with us.
Keep switching favorites.
But it seemed like they seem like very wholesome ghosts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they don't seem like they're trying to cause anyone.
There's no malicious stories or anything.
Is that the wallpaper?
Yes. So there's a chapel in there, and there's like the drawing room.
Oh, it is eerie.
Look at how creepy that is. That's the photo from the mystery bus.
That gives me
the chilly willies.
The chilly willies.
Spooky magoopy.
Kind of looks like a nun, like the white and then the
black.
black.
I don't like that.
Oh, why are they taking... Oh,
I don't know.
At night? Who's going out there at night and taking pictures?
I will.
Did you find... Are there any pictures of the cemetery? Do you know?
No. I did not find any.
That's very spooky. That is like horror movie-esque right there.
I think that all of this must have come out because a horror movie was shot there.
That's also very interesting.
I feel like you see this house and you're like, yeah, it's spooky. But once you shoot a horror movie in it, it makes it so scary. Yeah. So even if there's no malicious history behind it, there's all this stuff that bubbles up. For me, the daughter playing with the little girl, that's scary.
Yep.
But I don't like the man that just sits in the armchair.
That was the least freaky
for me. I just got chills again thinking about, because I'm like, what if you're just, strolling down the hallway and then there's this man at the end of the hallway looking at you?
Undeniably very creepy, and I don't want any of it, but I just feel like the other ones are interactive. Like,
that's better for me.
No.
It's a little girl.
No,
she just like la 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 and plays, and like kids are so susceptible to this, but then a fully grown man, I don't like that.
I don't like any of it. Just throw them away. No, not for me. Like, I would do a bus tour, but I would stay on the bus and just take pictures and admire from afar. Or I'd go in like a really big group, and stay in the middle. So if the ghosts wanted, interact or whatever, they can get the outside people.
Ghost hunter.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to stay safe out of these streets.
No, I want them to tap me on the shoulder and say, how's it?
Nope. Yeah, they can tap you, not me. Okay,
your turn.
Let's get into this one. Well done. That was a good one. That was interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
So I'm going to be talking about the Kempton Park Hospital, which is considered to be one of the most haunted places in South Africa. So that's fun. It opened in 1978, and it was then known as the Transvaal Provincial Hospital. I keep saying hospital. And it was like very successful. It was said to be one of the best medical facilities in the country, which is what makes the following so strange.
Tell me about it.
For reasons still unknown to this day, as in while we sit here today, they just closed their doors on the 26th of December in 1996 for no reason. They didn't tell anyone. There was and they closed it with everything inside. So all the equipment, all the beds, all the everything, files, everything. They just closed their doors and they didn't give any sort of like...
Where did the people go?
I shrugged. Wow.
Silently shrugs.
Sounds guys. So no one knew why, but the speculation was that it was because it was underutilized and in the wrong location, which makes no sense to me because they say that it was thriving and it was so successful. So I don't really get that, but that's just what people thought because no one knew anything and there was just no... Which is like bizarre. How do you just close down a building
and
with
leave everything there?
No reason. And that's... Anyway, we'll get there.
Are they theories?
No, those are the theories. That it was just underutilized.
Oh.
Which again doesn't make sense because...
that sounds suspicious.
I literally wrote suspicious in capital letters. Okay, so when, like I said, when they closed, everything was left as it is. The medical equipment, beds, cabinets, files, like patients' files. And the stuff that was left there was estimated to be worth 10 million rand. Which is also...
that's crazy.
And they're leaving it there.
In South Africa.
In South Africa. So essentially now it was just this empty building, several stories high, with abandoned surgical theatres and equipment just lying there.
That is just asking for
Exactly.
very horrible things to happen.
That's a source of negativity.
Yeah. Like, what if a cult finds that and they're like, aha, this is exactly what we needed.
And it like, literally, it's now become like a hotspot for ghost hunters and teenagers and criminals and whatever. Anyway, we'll get into that. So I'm going to get into some of the spooky stuff.
Okay.
There's not much like intro. That is it. It opened, it thrived, and it closed for no reason, and no one knows why. So obviously it's creepy as heck.
No way.
And like I said, has become an attraction for these ghost hunters and people interested with the paranormal. Okay, so at some stage, because there's like conflicting dates on it, but you were able to take a tour after midnight on a Saturday.
Oh.
So they have guards that are guarding the hospital. But they kind of say if you slip them a 40 rand after midnight on a Saturday,
a Coca-Cola and a sandwich,
then they kind of let you roam and do your thing.
Oh my gosh.
So this is some of the stuff that people have found there, which we'll post pictures of because it's creepy. So, like I said, the filing drawers were still filled with patients' documents. X-rays were scattered everywhere. Like, people that were born there have gone and found their records.
No. Yeah. That is so creepy and like creepy. Unnerving.
Yeah.
Someone could just pick up your records.
Exactly. So, like, obviously all the hospital things, so computers, very outdated computers, operating tables, empty hospital beds.
Oh.
Blood spattered sheets, they say.
Oh, this would all make for a very good collage.
Yeah.
Like, you just go get stuff. Like X-rays, people's files, some blood splattered sheets.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that.
No, I don't think so. Human organs.
What?
There was a jar of kidneys on the floor. So that's fun. And then just like, general, there was graffiti on the wall. Again, like, why do these people always come in and vandalize shit?
I don't know.
Honestly. And then an unpleasant smell in the air. And then some funny stuff was like, there's a illustrated step-by-step guide on how to shave your bikini line. So how to give yourself a bikini wax, basically. And it's just there on the floor.
What do you mean?
It's an illustrated step-by-step guide.
Like, did someone paint it on the floor?
Yeah, it's like someone illustrated it. And then on the second floor, there are FHM pictures of girls in bikinis and stuff. But then someone's gone and scratched up all their eyes.
Oh, no.
So
that's terrifying.
The article says, quote, so they look like beautiful demons.
Well, if you're going to be any kind of demon, they're the beautiful kind.
And then the same article also says that alone in an empty room is a small wooden chair just big enough for a child.
No.
Yeah. Just the empty room with that in.
Who left that there? Who didn't steal that? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. And also I suppose there's also an element of when there is a space like that, someone's going to go in and cause trouble as well. Like, they're going to play it up.
Yeah.
So.
But there's also, like, on the other side of that is people will be terrified naturally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, like,
and then, like, any small thing is going to set you off.
And, like, even if you do want to go steal things, if you walk into a room and there's one child-sized chair, you're like, no. I'm not touching that, not a chance.
Near it.
They're like, I'll give you 10 rand to touch it. No!
Katia wants to do everything for 10 rand. I'm like, 10 rand is nothing.
Here's the thing.
Can't would you get a coffee for 10 rand?
That's true. Back in my day. Would you lick a psychedelic frog for 10 rand?
We had this discussion.
No, I'm asking the people.
Oh, no one would do it.
It's 10 rand. Drugs are expensive.
Yeah, but 10 rand.
Yeah, so that you get the drugs and you get paid 10 rand to take the drug.
Okay, so
I would say I'll do that.
So like I said, the medical theatres and stuff are all there with the equipment and everything, and they say that this is literally quoted, I'm not saying this, you could do an operation there tonight if you had a body. And on the Facebook page, there are rumours that people have done this.
No, I'm sure they have.
Which is so disturbing.
Oh, I got the willies.
Ew. And then, now this doesn't sound real to me, but creepy. There are still like incubators for babies.
Yeah.
And next to the row of incubators is a metal locker cage with a tiny Bible inside.
That's possible.
But why in a
Metal cage.
Either way, creepy as heck.
So next to the baby incubator.
Yeah, so there's 40 incubators.
And there's just a random Bible.
And then at the end, there's this metal cage with Bible.
He protect.
He's strong, he protect. Okay, so then some of the paranormal activity that people have experienced there. This is also a direct quote from someone. You hear voices that curl your blood that seem to come from the walls if you listen closely, and shadows that follow you on your tour, so don't make any sudden turns.
I don't like that.
I would literally walk flat against the wall and just starfish across the wall because
oh my god,
I need to
you
see
have to
everything.
Elbow lock back to back and walk turning in circles.
Yeah, no, I don't want there
that
to
is
be
so scary.
anything in my peripherals or
coming
but
from
also
the
like
walls.
I said, I don't want to be flat against the wall because now the voices are
coming from the walls.
Do I want voices or do I want shadows? How do I have neither? The roof?
Don't go.
Yeah, no.
The roof?
Some people have heard babies crying.
No.
Doors opening and closing themselves, standard. And some have even claimed to see a dark figure of a man who roams the halls.
Very vague.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the classic, paranormal.
Yeah, you get the dark figure man and the lady in the white nightgown.
So people have also claimed that they've taken photos when visiting, and then when they look at it after, it's obscured and it's got a white sheen and stuff.
I love that.
Okay, so there is a group called Phoenix Paranormal South Africa.
Yeah.
Established by Charmaine Ruis and Arno du Toit.
Sorry.
So they're basically a paranormal ghost hunting team in Pretoria and Joburg. And they say that they use state-of-the-art technology to conduct the investigations to look for proof of the paranormal.
Of course.
So obviously they went to Kempton Hospital.
Yes. As one does in your free time.
I mean, if you're gonna research the paranormal, you're going to go to the Kempton, the people.
But is that their job?
I'm
or
also
do they just do it for funsies? How much money?
That's
if
the
you're
thing.
doing
What are you
it
getting
for
money
fun,
from?
Yeah.
Because who's paying you to go investigate paranormal?
That's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, state-of-the-art technology or whatever that means.
And also you could get possessed.
Your
life
your
depends
insurance. What's the risk factor? Yeah, that's a high cost.
First for demons.
Imagine you get insurance taken out for demon cover. Oh my god. Okay.
And it's the priest comes in and he's like, "I'm sorry, this one can't be covered. You'll have to put in the rest yourself."
Okay, so they went to investigate, and again we've got some quotes. I'm quoting a lot. I'm sorry. So they said they had some intelligent responses, which I found funny, and they wandered through some creepy spaces, and also had a run-in with a very dark entity. But they don't really go into what happened. But and one of the founders, they said that it's very common for most hospitals to be haunted, which is, it makes sense. It makes sense. And they say it gets fueled by the extreme human emotions people experience in this place. Yeah. Which is, it makes sense.
You don't naturally get hundreds of people dying in your house.
No.
So.
Yeah. But, I think it's probably, what's the word I'm looking for? It's, probably worse because of the circumstances that made it close for, a reason no one knows. Secrets. That's, also just feeds it. Secrets. That's a terrible habit. Okay. So then, what's quite interesting is this paranormal Phoenix people, they found that the spookies had actually filtered out into houses that lived near the hospital.
So
people that lived close to the hospital were experiencing things.
Oh.
So this is some of the stuff. One family experienced poltergeist activity where their curtains would be just be opened and their doors would shut with extreme force. That demon way. Another person found this is horrible. Found a trail of wet, childlike footprints across his house. Hate it.
That's like when Heine killed the Sim. He drowned one of the Sim's kids, and she would come back as a ghost and leave puddles everywhere.
Heine, you're rude to baby ghosts. Okay. Okay, so another family living next to the hospital says that they encountered ghosts of little children who would play with their children's toys. Hate it. The friggin'
that's
children.
really sweet though.
No, Katia.
But they're just
Yeah, but can you just picture sitting at home and your kids not there, they're gone, and their toys are just lying around, and then like a car just comes out into the passage.
But if I could put them outside and be like, you guys can play with them outside, I'll come get them later.
You do you, boo. I'm not on board.
Because they're just like sad kids from the hospital.
Yeah, I get it. Like, again, not being harmful or anything, but it's
scary.
Still creepy as hell.
Very creepy.
No, thank you. Like, I would maybe, like you said, but do it in like a controlled space.
Yeah.
We put them in like a locked room, and if they come out of that locked room,
no,
I want nothing to do with it. Okay.
You have rules for the ghosts.
Exactly.
Ghost
you
children.
Have to. You have
They're
to
like any other children. You have to have rules.
Discipline. That's basically all the activity that people have been experiencing. And now the hospital's just been chilling there in limbo for all these years. There was no explanation, and there's kind of been like over the years they've said, oh, we plan to rebuild or we plan to refurbish or whatever, but then nothing happens. So they're kind of saying it's not enough of a hazard to demolish it, but it's too much of a mission to revamp it or whatever. Because they say it would cost 1 billion rand to refurbish or rebuild it from scratch. But, just the logic on this one, they spend about 1 million rand a year on security.
Suspicious.
Yeah, but the whole thing is weird. Like
that whole thing is weird.
So this is also interesting. So someone from the Department of Infrastructure Development and Property Management,
fancy title,
they said that they work very closely with the Department of Health.
Yeah,
and the decision to close the hospital was made by the Department of Health, but they never told this department why.
No way.
Yeah. And usually any decisions made about a building, they consulted because the Department of Infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. So someone from that department has been quoted saying they should take responsibility for the hospital. They should state the reasons they closed it in the first place and why it remains closed now with no plan whatsoever. We can't move without the Department of Health go ahead.
Oh my god.
Because they also can't do anything. So I'm just like, why all the secrecy?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Something is...
Because if it is something as mundane as underutilized...
No, it can't be.
You would easily just come out and be like, this is why we closed it.
Yeah, and they wouldn't leave all that stuff in there.
No, 1 million... Yeah, 1 million rands worth of hospital equipment.
It was like
10 million.
1 million.
Like, in South Africa also, like people...
Yeah, you don't... Also, this is equipment that can kill people easily.
Yes.
And mutilate, and like not only is it expensive, it's like very dangerous.
Yeah.
And they just
and
let
all
it...
these files, like that's creepy. Imagine you were born in that hospital and now you know
that
your files are
and
just
that's
chilling.
illegal. You can't... No one's allowed to see your files.
That's so creepy.
No, you can
and
just
like
go
the pictures of this place are...
Show me.
Oh, it's chilling, my bro.
My bro.
Oh dear, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay. How much... Why am I doing this? How much money would we have to pay you to sleep in one of the hospital beds?
Me? Not enough. There's never an amount that would be enough. What you trying to do to me? No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The thing is, I would not sleep. And regardless of anything happened, I would just be in such distress the whole time. No, you couldn't pay me enough money.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. But if we were to go there just to have a look-see, would you sit on one of the beds?
TBC. And if we did go there, it would be in the daytime. It would be...
The guards would come in with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you 80 rand for that one.
$100 clean. I can't. The pictures are enough for me. They're really, really creepy.
Yeah, they're very creepy.
And it's a big building with so much, like, potential and
empty.
Yeah, and that's what's... And I mean, if there are people not from South Africa, the reason we're saying you would leave something like that with equipment and everything is that our crime rate is pretty high.
It's quite substantially
it's quite a
higher than...
especially in this area. And like, if you're leaving that amount of equipment there, it's almost like 100% guaranteed to be stolen. So it's like they were just giving the money away. They didn't really care. It's like in my mind, it's almost like if it was a COVID outbreak and then they had to close and they just had to close up and go.
Like something happened.
But yeah, it must have been. And there has to be someone out there that knows and they're just not telling us, and that makes me so
it's
angry.
the Illuminati.
Maybe.
The South African Illuminati. It's our branch of it.
SA branch.
Does it still has beds in it? Like, what does it still
Well,
have?
so obviously, like today, right now, I don't know how much has been stolen or whatever, but a lot of it is still there. And for me, it's like you said, you're not going to go into a room with a creepy ass chair and be like, I'm taking us home. It's like, and also they have the guards, which again, weird. Why are you spending 1 million rand a year to guard this building instead of either demolishing it or... And also, like they say, it's not enough of a hazard, but then they're complaining that it's full of ghost hunters and people and teenagers who are doing criminal things.
They might as well make it a museum now.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of money.
Yeah, it would.
We should look into that.
Yeah. Trademark. Horrified Honeys. The Horrified Honeys tour. So,
that was good.
Those were good stories. They were interesting.
That's creepy.
Very creepy.
I don't know if I've made this up in my head, but when we spoke about you doing this hospital, I think my cousin has been there, and I was like told about it, like as maybe a young teen. But I don't know. I think they just went and they were like, "Hoo, spooky," and then they left. I don't think they actually went in.
I think like with the horror movie thing we were saying, if you go there, you're already in a space of like this is going to be creepy. So if anything small happens, but I do think 100% most of this stuff is not made up, because you can't have a place like that. And I mean, like they said, hospitals are usually haunted because of what happens there. Yeah, but it's also because of the suspicious circumstances. Yes. I feel like there has to be an element there.
I wonder if they're hiding things like under. I don't know. What is the underground situation?
Yeah, because can anyone even get there? Like, if they're guarding it and
then I also wonder about all the parts of a hospital that you don't think of, like the kitchens or like.
I wonder what happened to the morgue.
Oh.
I mean, surely they transported.
Well, the people must have gone somewhere, and the bodies. And the other thing is, how did they move out so quickly that no one spoke about it?
And the day after Christmas, on Boxing Day, they're just like, see ya.
We don't want to be here.
It's so bizarre. And I want to know what the logistics of it were. Like, how did they... Because also, for something like that, surely you have to let staff know. Yeah. There has to be warning. Yeah. So people must have known, but they, like... Maybe they all had to sign like NDAs or some shit. I don't know.
They would never keep that down.
No.
Maybe it was like
it's been a long time. Yeah. They closed in 1996. So how has no one figured out what's going on since then?
No. That's a very well kept secret. Yeah. I want to know so badly.
I know, so. If anyone knows.
Holla at your girl.
Yeah, message us on the gram. We'd love to know.
Oh! But what you guys should do is we will be doing episodes of your stories.
Look at that segue.
Watch me sing. Oh no. Oh no. So we're going to be doing episodes that you guys send us some stories and we will read them to you.
Yeah, we're not ashamed to say that we are obsessed with the podcast Morbid, and they kind of inspired us to start this podcast. And they have a series called Listener Tales, and it's basically just the listeners are able to send us their stories that they want told. You don't have to send your name. You can change the names if you want to, or you can tell us not to read your name and we won't. But it's basically just giving you guys a platform to tell your stories, and that can be spooky, it can be, I don't know, like creepy interactions with people, or
like someone followed you home. That's not a nice one, but...
It's not a nice one, but it's also kind of to, I don't know, like help others in a way.
We just want to know what's happening out there.
Yeah, and like how we can prevent it, I suppose.
And I think we all have, like when you listen to podcasts and other people tell these stories, you don't think to yourself, I have a story.
No.
But then, like, I'm sitting here talking to you and I can think of stories that you and I could both be telling.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone you think you don't, but everyone has one.
Especially in South Africa, and especially as a woman in South Africa, unfortunately. But, yeah, that's totally up to you guys. If you do want to submit something, you can email us at horrifiedhoneys@gmail.com. Honeys with a U. Otherwise, just go to our Instagram, and we've got all the info there.
All the infos.
So, yeah, that will be coming soon.
Very soon.
Very soon. And if you have any other suggestions, like case suggestions or spooky suggestions, like the cases we covered today, then you can also send those to us.
Yeah, send them in. And follow our socials because we post cool things.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
That's very South African.
Like, we just post such cool shit.
Oh, what a mess. We hope you enjoyed this episode and we'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, bye honeys.
Bye.